So this value of fun, it's a very interesting one that's been brought up, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a chief value here in the discussion.
Sure.
And the question it begs in my mind is, God forbid this happens, will it be fun if this open relationship ends up causing things to fall apart down the line if one of you guys finds yourself in an entanglement, so to speak, with somebody who you might find a deeper connection with than the other person? Like if that causes the relationship to fall apart, that probably wouldn't be very fun.
No, it would be horrible and it would be sad. But monogamous relationships have the same issue, right?
Issue, yes.
How many times do you have like a man that falls in love with a coworker or a woman that falls in love with a friend that she spends too much time with? Like monogamous people have to put up a lot of boundaries in their relationships because they worry about the same types of things, you know?
And
so
I think
this
is part of the reason why like that is, so I was conceived by a man who had an extramarital,
I would hope so.
Extramarital affair.
Okay.
He had an extramarital affair with my mother, and he was extremely in love with her, and he felt a deeper connection, from what I understand, with my mother than he did with his wife, right? And this is why like we're trad Christians preaching the Christian gospel and the Christian way of life, because it's like, yes, people will, like in marriage, people will likely find somebody else at some point in time during the marriage that they feel a stronger connection with, but through embodying virtue, like you can shut down that impulse, you can resist that temptation and stuff. And it's like, I don't know, I personally think that that's a better approach than entertaining it, because what if someday one of you guys runs into somebody that you have a better emotional connection with? Like, what would you do then?
Again, I understand the question, but like monogamous people have this exact same problem.
They do, but you can guard against
what you rely on.
with
Yeah,
virtue.
but the guardian, in my opinion, is the history that you've built together, right? There's
Or
probably
the virtue that you choose to embody.
if that's how
I
you
think
want to
it's
do
the
it.
history.
Yeah, but there's like
There's
probably
a lot of people with history
probably
that still cheat, though.
There's probably some woman out there that would be like a better match for me than Melina. There's probably
Watch
some
it.
guy. There's probably some guy out there that would be a better match for her than me. But we've got like 4.5 years up to now of history built together that we know.
And like our lifestyle works really well. We match very well. We want the same things. Like
Yeah. So I think part of what makes a relationship work is that relationships require a lot of deliberate work. They don't just happen and they don't just grow naturally. It's not for a little bit for the beginning,
Like,
but they require like a lot of deliberate, like we're going to work on things, we're going to build on things, we're going to have this. And that thing that you build is part of what makes you romantically attracted to each other. Not in the honeymoon way, but in like this is a relationship that works kind of way. And that thing you can't find with other people. There might be a girl that I meet and I connect with in a ton of awesome ways, but it's like, I don't know.
way.
But
yeah.
here's the thing about that. I mean, you make a great point, but a lot of people,
Of course I do.
A lot of people build that foundation with one another over years and years. But like one of the things that happens with a lot of women, you know, women are in many ways dominated by their emotions, right?
Men are
Men are
absolutely
the same
dominated.
way.
But go ahead.
we are, but like
It's
like
equal.
one of the things that you hear very often happens in marriages is like, you know, there will be a bit of tension. Maybe the guy gets fired from his job. He's having a tough time finding a new one. He loses some of his confidence. You know, she's like kind of got the ick from her husband for a bit, and then like some Chad comes into the picture and he's like, hey, and he talks to her, right, and then boom, she cheats. Happens all the time.
Hold on.
I've heard it a million times.
Men cheat more than women.
Okay, yes.
So
you can apply.
They
You
cheat
can
for
apply.
different reasons,
You can
though.
apply it to both sexes, though.
Sure.
What I'm talking about, you can apply it to both sexes, and at that point in time, your history, your foundation doesn't matter. It all goes out the window the second that emotion.
Because-
Sure,
gets
but that would be
introduced
the
into
case
mix.
whether or not we were open or closed.
Yeah.
Right? If I lose all my confidence and I turn into a fucking loser and I just start smoking weed all day and play League of Legends, it's not like I'm going to rely on my monogamy to keep her trapped
Also,
in the
I
house.
feel like it kind of helps, like having an open relationship too, because you actually get to like taste the things that you're interested in that might not be like a relationship. You know, like you live with them or you want to have a future with them, right?
But is that sustainable?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
I
guys?
think
do
it's
you
like-
guys-
I mean,
Hold on, wait,
for
don't we have the
5
longest relationship at this table so far?
You do, but
Sure.
but like, do you guys have a high degree of confidence that your marriage will last for decades?
I mean, I married her without a prenup, so I fucking hope so. Okay, or else this motherfucker's going to be...
I'm curious what the chat thinks.
No.
I'm curious what the chat thinks. Do you guys have a high degree of confidence that their marriage will go the distance? Let us know.
I mean, you shouldn't have a high degree of confidence in anybody's because even monogamous marriages have like a 50% fucking fail rate, right?
No, so people
Yeah,
change,
but like
right,
if,
as well.
if you take, you know, again, to go back to the Christianity thing, if you really take your vows before God seriously and you're regularly attending church and like that's a really important thing to you, you know, you look at the data on that, the divorce rates are much lower than the average of
I
the
understand what
population.
you're saying, and it's hard to fight this because like it's hard without making it sound like an attack on your relationship, okay? But you're asking me a hard question, so like this is
Yeah.
how I view it personally, okay? I want my wife to be with me, not because I'm the only one she's allowed to fuck, and not because we made a promise in front of a sky fairy a long time ago that she has to be with me. I want her to be with me because she loves me, because she respects me, because she thinks I'm the coolest guy for her, and because all the things that I'm doing are things that are inspiring to her in her life. And with the way that our relationship works, I know that at every point we're with each other, it's because we match and exceed those expectations from each other, right? She will never think that like, the only reason Steven hasn't like left me for another woman is because, he could go fuck somebody else, right? Because we can do that, but we're still with each other at the end of the day, right? That's like our marriage. That's how we view our relationship. If for some people vows and everything work, like that's cool, but I feel like with the type of lifestyle I lead, with the ways that I excel in my career, and with the ways that she's like growing and excelling in her career, I would hope that the reasons why we're together are more than just because of vows
The
we took
transactional things.
some number of years ago. Yeah, that's my point of view, and I understand that's not for everybody, and some people do things differently. But then like I also see, and I know personal examples, I won't call them out, but where people have taken those vows and fuck, they're stuck in some miserable ass fucking relationships.
Yeah, happens
and
all the time.
Yeah, and they're like, well, I took this vow. I don't want to fucking do. If I'm Catholic, I have to get an annulment. It's gonna look bad in front of my whole family. And then you see these really sad people in their 30s, okay, that are like the rest of my life is gonna be relegated to this miserable fuck relationship, and I can't get out because I promised somebody that I wouldn't. And it's like, fuck, that's so sad.
That's like so much worse than like anything else. I get really sad whenever I see that.
I think the
For
problem
those
there
people
is
a
that
lot.
they took the vow in the first place. I think they didn't recognize how serious it was, where they jumped into this
Or
relationship with somebody.
sometimes you don't know
where they were
someone until
miserable.
you live with them for a little bit, and then you realize that this is not for me. But then they've like hardcore committed. Like I was a virgin before this. No one's gonna ever want me again. I'm religious. My parents are gonna hate me. Like, and then they're stuck in this relationship that might be really abusive. And then they're having kids, and they don't dare to divorce.
And this is where like
That's like a hyper niche example, though.
That's
This
not a hyper
happens
niche.
a
That's probably
lot.
one of
This
the norms.
happens
That's
a
probably
lot.
one of the norms.
I don't know.
This
You
happens
Absolutely.
a lot.
have any sources, anything to back
Well,
that
look
up?
at the
Doesn't happen a
divorce
lot,
rates.
just based on the fact that like virgins, like people are not saving sex for marriage in general these days. Like that does not happen a lot.
Yeah, if you
No,
look at the
but
hold on,
period,
hold
that
on.
does
If you
not
look at the
happen a lot.
statistics, hold on. I'm sorry, this point needs to be made. If you look at the statistics on virgins who get married, they have a less than 2% divorce rate.
Yes,
Yeah.
but what if those marriages are abusive?
But
Yeah,
she
but
thinks
they-
it's
but-
okay.
but-
What does that have
this
anything
is
to
like
do
a
with it?
hypothetical situation,
No, but
but
the
it's like
thing is,
what
like,
are the stats on how many
the
of those
reason
marriages
why
are
they're not
abusive?
divorcing is because of the pressure that they have from their families and from the
That's
what
an
culture
assumption.
that they come from.
That
That's
is an
an
assumption,
assumption.
but there's some percentage. I didn't bring
Yeah.
those
That's
stats,
good,
but I would
actually.
argue.
That's like good that pressure's on there.
No,
probably.
that's not
Yeah.
good.
Why?
I think it is.
If it's
Yeah.
abusive,
No,
the
Because
relationship,
it's not.
Shame is a
It's
good
like
thing, and I
statistically
of
think
course it
Might
could
I
be.
remind
Abuse
It could
has
be,
always
sure.
been considered grounds for divorce.
But-
Even.
Yes.
Yeah,
One of the
like,
things
it's
with
not-
No,
the
physical abuses. Physical abuses.
one of the things
but
with
like
monogamy.
dudes are
It
not
could be
like
mental
lining
abuse as
up
well,
en
right?
masse to like beat their wives' asses. Like
It's
that's
not-
not.
it's
That's
not
like
a common
not
thing.
like
It
like
doesn't
like no
necessarily
because the
have to be
general thing in
abusive.
America, the general thing in America is like these feminists think like guys are like, all right, listen here, wife, you better fucking make some great tuna casserole. I'm gonna beat your fucking ass, and it's just like doesn't work.
No,
like
no, no,
that
no.
at all.
Hold on. Nobody,
It doesn't
nobody,
work
nobody
like that at
thinks
all.
that that's like what abuse looks
it's
like,
going
right?
to-
Like
I
that's
think-
like the
no, no,
most
no.
like strawman stereotype form of abuse.
Okay.
Right?
Do you guys know what abuse looks like?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, I
okay,
do.
let
Okay,
me
you guys
let
wanna
me.
get into
We don't
that?
even
we're-
have to go as
bro.
far as abusive.
Okay, that's cool.
Listening to Fresh's
Hey,
girlfriend.
hey guys,
Let's get through the super chats. Let's